So there is something like a 50% chance I'm going to get through this without tears. Um, I spent way too much of my time and energy last night arguing with someone on Twitter. And I don't even, I have no words for this. It's hard to explain what's going on with me right now. Um, there are a couple of things. Like I've now entered the phase of like the adjustment to my medication because there are different places. Like I started out, with the asthma, feeling the feeling like I can breathe, and turns out, okay, so that's panic. All right, and so the now I can breathe, but I still felt like sleep should be optional. And now I'm starting to get into the I'm okay with the idea of sleep part of things. And now I'm in the food should be optional space. Like I haven't eaten all day. I didn't even realize that I hadn't. Uh, and I'm hungry and I feel no desire to actually like put food in my mouth. Uh, and instead, you know, I- there are like a few parts of this for me. Like there's a part of me that accepts responsibility that I did this to myself in a lot of ways. But there's also a part of me that recognizes that this stuff comes at me. I didn't even leave my house, but kind of comes at me so constantly that the ability to always make the right choice of not engaging is not humanly possible because I'm a human who doesn't like to be gaslit, who responds defensively and in all of the ways that people respond to gaslighting behavior. And let me tell you, this TikTok account was purely for my physical and mental health. And unfortunately, I cannot separate the black shit from it. Or should I say the white shit? Because, the black stuff is fine. It's the white stuff that has been ridiculous. So I spent the weekend, not even the weekend, but the last yesterday, talking to someone on Twitter about this article that came out in the Washington Post, which made the very simple point that no black woman has ever charted number one on the country charts. And that Luke Combs' cover of Tracy Chapman's song enabled something to happen that she would not have been able to accomplish herself. And the truth is, honestly, sorry about that. That was my little alarm saying it's time to start bedtime hygiene stuff and technically also time to take my freaking medication. All right. Which is true. She would not very likely have been able to the song itself, even as Luke Combs does it, her vibe has always been more country than folk to me. The sound of her music. And instead, it became this really weird argument where people were saying that they were saying something completely different from what the article actually said. And believe it or not, once it became clear for this person that the arguments that she was offering me were not sound because they went against what was actually written in the tweet. Like, this woman was not saying that Luke Combs shouldn't have covered the song. She wasn't even saying that, Tracy Chapman should be considered a country artist, which frankly, that's what I'm saying. That's what I feel. But this person continued to do that kind of stuff. And then the point was, well, As far as I know, this is the very first time. She should be proud because, as far as I know, this is the very first time a country, a pop song that top charted in the top 40 has ever made the country charts. And like right off the top of my head, I'm Garth Brooks, Shameless, right? And so I said Shameless, and she just ignores it. She was gaslighting me. The This entire conversation was this is why racism. Shireen says, Shireen, digital sister, she she made a point that racism is abuse because gaslighting is abuse. It is abusive, right? So I find myself so often in conversations with people who know absolutely nothing about what they're talking about. They just have an opinion. They haven't done any reading. They haven't done any research. Meanwhile, I have not only the experience, but I have I've also done all this research. So I type in Shameless country song, and the first thing that shows up is song facts saying that it was a top 40 hit for Billy Joel, and it was a number one country hit for Garth Brooks, his seventh. And I know that sounds like nothing and it sounds like no big deal, but if you only knew the number of things that I just let go, that I don't engage with, that I pretend I didn't see, that I tell myself all kinds of lies about just to get to through the frickin' day, you would recognize that like this isn't nothing and it's so unnecessary. Nobody's trying to call you a bad person. Nobody's trying to tell you that you're a racist. All we're saying, all that is being said, all that I was saying in that moment was, let's tell the truth about what is being said, and let's tell the truth about what has actually happened. Yes, country music is racist AF. They say they are. They went through this whole like after George Floyd moment trying to address their inherent racism, the inherent racism of the industry. But no, we're going to say, and knowing all of that, she's still trying to talk to me about how country isn't racist. And I love country music. Okay. And that is part of my problem. I love country music, and I know, or from the time that I was a child, what I knew was that I would never be rooting for anybody but Charlie Pride, you know, as far as when it came to trying to find a black performer to root for. I knew that most of the songs that I was going to love and most of the singers whose careers I was going to follow and music I was going to be singing were going to be white women or white men. Toby Keith, as a songwriter, I love that man. The fact that he has contempt for my existence, the way that it shows up in this country, hurts my feelings. And I'm tired. I'm tired of like having to deal with a physical illness that makes me constantly miserable. I'm tired of dealing with the mental health stuff that just came from, life being hard. And in addition, the absolute unnecessary bullshit of people just not being willing to acknowledge true things that are obvious. I'm tired. And now I gotta go take my pill. Freaking medication. Okay. So, yeah, this has been a passionate one. And I might be back tonight or might not. We'll see what's going on.